work. Once one person is done, the next person come up, be ready to go, okay? Stand up to the mic, adjust how you need. This is from India Wilson, a senior student. My ACU experience has been one of growth, misunderstanding of my culture, adaptation, and rejection. ACU is not a bad school, but it's definitely one in need of growth.
Go, Jack.
Can y'all? Okay. Okay, so my freshman year here, one of my professors had a little black girl projected on the screen in a PowerPoint and pointed out every black girl in the class and said that it was us when we were little. I told one of my friends about this, a black friend, and he said that wasn't racist. How is that not racist? I'm tired of people saying like, oh, I don't see color, as a way to say that they're not right. No, what you need to do is you need to see the color and love the color the same way you love your own color.
My name is Chanel, and this is my ACU experience. While I'm grateful of the opportunities that this university has given me, there have been times of struggle and conflict as a student of color on this campus. It is disheartening to hear one of my professors say that having Martin Luther King Jr. Day off, which is meant to observe and celebrate a man who devoted his life for fighting for equal opportunity for all, was inconvenient. It is hard to see an incident such as the one on Monday take place and people act as if nothing occurred. It is hard because I know that there are people that use negative stereotypes such as this to characterize myself. This is something I have to deal with constantly. When I was a freshman, I saw the parking ticket incident in which African American students were targeted and told that we do not drive nice cars. When I was a sophomore, I saw persistent racist yik-yak posts throughout the week of MLK. I am now a senior and feel that only little has changed on this campus. I would like to see more from not only the administration, but also the students. I would urge you all to please listen to our stories. Please do not listen to argue, but please listen to understand and explore ways that we can make this university more inclusive for all. We do not need strife. We need support. We need love and action, and I hope to see this very, very soon.
I'm new to ACU. I got here a semester ago, or actually at the beginning of this semester. And I came here specifically because of the C in ACU, specifically because it was a Christian university. And incidents like the one that happened a few days ago just make me question what exactly we think that C means, right? And I don't want to talk about racism as an issue right now. I want to take it to an even next level with it. I want to wonder together why we're so comfortable with division. As Christians, we acknowledge that people of different skin colors, complexions, ethnicities are also Christians, and there's something that's supposed to be unifying about that, right? So why on a campus with the C are we so comfortable with being divided? I think before we can wrestle with the question of race and what that means on this campus, we have to figure out what it means to be a C. Because if we don't know what it means to be a C, there's absolutely no reason to be kind, to be loving, and be accepting of each other. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
All right. So my dear friend Bryerston asked me to write something, and that's what I did, and I felt like I needed to share. My name is Lorenzo Ellis, and I'm a freshman at ACU. ACU has been a very welcoming community to me since I've been here. Not only have I been introduced to great staff, but also new people I'm proud to consider my friends. However, come recent events, I am saddened by what students are experiencing. No one can expect an establishment or school to be perfect, but some standards are withheld to respect the integrity of all the student body. I can no longer sit back and watch utter discrimination and hateful behavior ensue in an environment that is intended to be unifying. I understand that there were recent events causing controversy and upheaval that was related to a Black Lives Matter chapel. A chapel intended to be peaceful and informative to those who have been misinformed about the movement's intentions. Not all of the students felt the same way, and made that clear to other students and faculty. This is where discrepancies between different groups of people start. How can ideas be processed if there is no middle ground established? How can a group of people share their stories if there is no audience for it to be spoken to? Perhaps we should be less eager to dismiss things we simply do not understand, and more willing to listen with genuine intentions. All lives matter because Black lives matter too. This is something we can all agree on, but instead of living for people, we are living for skewed and volatile opinions found on social media. If you take anything from this, I urge you to engage in complex discussions. These conversations are meant to be uncomfortable, but being uncomfortable does not equate to isolation. Being inconvenienced does not equate to oppression. Step back from egotism and step forward into compassion. As Christians, we must discontinue living in fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of tolerance. If actions are planted in fear, only destruction will blossom. I am no motivating speaker. I am not a martyr for social issues. However, I am a student who sees very real situations in very real places. To my brothers and sisters in my community, I promise to stand by you through these hard times. And to my brothers and sisters in Christ, I urge you to let love prevail and to find light in places of darkness. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alyra Martin. I'm a freshman, and this is my ACU experience. Does my race change how you see me? I'm gonna answer that, yes, it does. Statements like, "You're so pretty" for a Black girl, or "You act so white," are understatements of how people view me on campus. In order for me to fit in anywhere or to be accepted, I must be a successful Black woman, right? I must be educated, I must go to the best schools, I must dress properly, I must have long, straight hair, my skin can't be too dark, my lips can't be too big, I must be as close of a reflection of a white person as possible. I must run 10 miles to be at the same place as my white friends are in 10 steps. I must be as white as a Black person can be, right? No. My Blackness should be acknowledged and respected like any other person. My work in the classroom shouldn't be graded differently. I shouldn't be discriminated against by my peers in the classes each day. I should not have to sound more white, look less Black, or act less Black for me to be seen as an equal. I have little sisters and nieces at home who want me to be successful. Why should I be working 10 times as hard to prove to them that people will still hate you just because you're Black? Why should I keep my morals that I was raised with and that Jesus taught to love one another if I am hated just because I'm not white? ACU taking this step against the type of ignorance and racism is a step in the right direction, but in order for this school to prove that it is truly against racist acts, it needs to progress a lot faster against discrimination.
I have been a recipient of the intolerable behavior that has been circulating around this campus. Within the first week of me being a student at ACU, I was told that because I was Black, I couldn't sit with a group of white students at a chapel event. I was told that the row had white seats only. I have reached out to faculty, but due to certain locating difficulties, my complaint was never resolved. I was never able to receive the group of people's names who had showed discrimination toward me because of the color of my skin. And I can't help but wonder, could the same people who made the disgusting video be in the group who were so hateful to me? I never got to receive the ACU experience that everyone so highly talked about because I spent the majority of my time trying to be cautious not to have the same confrontation happen again. My whole life I have been a victim in events like this one I experienced, and it weighs on me, on the way I carry myself. I felt ashamed. I shut down knowing that there were people on campus who think in such an ignorant mindset. I was afraid to run into those people again, but today I'm not afraid, and this issue has to be addressed. I am hurt, but I am strong, and I will not tolerate discrimination. That is why I'm speaking today.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. In the I Have a Dream speech, I just want to quote this real quick. Martin Luther King Jr. said, 100 years later, the Negro is still languishing in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. That's my experience here at ACU. Like, when I think about it, I imagine like a classroom with a little black boy sitting in the corner, you know, offset from the total population, you feel me? And the teacher comes up to him and says, yo, while you're here in this corner over here, I want you to know that you're accepted, you're equal, I want you to excel and do your studies here and thrive just like the rest of the students, just over here in this corner. And then teacher turns to the white students in the classroom and says, you see this kid over here in the corner? He's just like y'all. I want y'all to accept this kid, allow him to study and thrive, you feel me? Don't bother him, he's just like you. And what's crazy is y'all not telling them to come sit in the corner with me or to pull me out the corner, y'all telling them to accept me as a human, which tells you what state we in right now, pretty much, okay? And then we tend to be real reactive, because what happened is a white student will ball a piece of paper up, throw it at that little black boy, you know what I mean? And then we get real reactive. The first thing that the teacher does is run to the corner where the little black boy is and say, don't be upset. I know you might be angry because they do something at you, but don't overreact, don't become violent. Then they turn back to the classroom and say, this will not be tolerated. They are equal, you cannot do this. We are Christians, we love them, we accept them, you can't throw stuff, you know what I'm saying? All at the same time, you're not really telling them why I'm in that corner, you feel me? You're not explaining to them how their silence or their ignorance keeps me in that corner, you know what I mean? All you're doing is telling them, be kind to the little animal in the corner, okay? So, I just think it's real interesting. Like, what is the number one thing they teach out here at ACU? Christianity. We got 19,000 Bible classes focusing on every different subject in the Bible, and yeah, I still feel like somehow we managed to miss it. Jesus always taught in what? He taught in parables, because he understood that love, faith, forgiveness, them are concepts that are too heavenly for people to understand. So he'll break it down. He'll use real life examples. You know, he'll use like, examples that people can understand. And yet today, I feel like we too scared of what real life is to bring it up. We want people to be comfortable. So we talk about love, we talk about faith. We don't talk about racism. We don't talk about sexism at all. If I have to go to church and hear another sermon about love or faith, I'm gonna stop going because y'all not making it clear to people. People don't understand what love is. You gotta tell them what love is, okay? So let's get back to the parables. Let's get back to the parable of the young black boy shot in the street. Or let's get back to the parable of the freshman girl in college who was sexually assaulted by the 22-year-old athlete, you know what I mean? Let's talk, let's be real. Let's not make people comfortable, because when you're uncomfortable, that's when you start to change and grow.
Yeah.
My name is Jacob Swan, and I'm a freshman who came to this university to love and be loved. And this first semester, I've experienced loving and being loved because of the color of my skin and the beliefs that you have about me. And I don't think that's okay. I think everyone should be loved. And I wrote a parable, just like Shakur was talking about, and I want you to hear it. There once was a young boy named Trayvon, who after a night spent with his friends, put on his hoodie, bought some candy, and headed home. Before he reached home, however, a man fought him under false pretenses and killed him. After Trayvon's death, people began to be angry and protest about his wrongful death. These people came up with a saying that directly stated what they needed to say. This saying was Black Lives Matter. After these people started to protest on behalf of Trayvon, saying Black Lives Matter, other people who were less affected by Trayvon's death began to be very upset with this group. The people upset with Black Lives Matter protesters had this notion that the protesters were saying that because Black Lives Matter and other lives don't. That's wrong. People upset with Black Lives Matter protesters refused to understand the reasons for Black Lives Matter protesters being upset. They saw it as a hate group, and absolutely nothing could persuade them otherwise. This is what is simply known as ignorance. People are doing this, and they're not listening, they're not looking, they're not reaching out. They don't care. After this parable, there was some grumbling among the crowd, and someone asked him, so are the protesters right to say Black Lives Matter? And he responded by saying, I say to you, go to the broken and the hurt populations and provide healing. These protesters are simply calling attention to a broken and hurt population that needs healing. So I will say it again, Black Lives Matter.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so I tried to write something, but I just couldn't get the words down, solidified place. Okay, so I came to this campus fully aware of what I was getting into, fully aware that this was a predominantly white university, fully aware that this was Texas culture, what I'm not used to, fully aware that I would be uncomfortable in my classes, that I would be the black girl representing all black girls in my English class, in my Greek class, in my Hebrew class, in all the classes. I'm aware of that. And I was okay with that because I thought that the Christian nature of this university would make the difference. It would make up the difference between racism, sexism, and how we deal with issues. But in my experience on this campus, Christianity is just the problem. Because before we can deal with an issue, we have to come together and decide that we're a Christian. Before we can say what racism is, we have to say that we love each other. Before we can say that one of our students, two of our students, three of our students were blatantly racist and then put it on social media, we have to have a chapel where we talk about how great we are as a university. We have to justify how great we are as humans before we can deal with our ignorance as humans. And that's the problem. I want us to quit calling ourselves Christians and leaders until we start acting like it. Because just like Phil Schubert said, they are waiting on us to respond. And let me tell you, history will repeat itself if we respond like Christians have responded in the past. Please do not be fooled by what people tell you every day about Christians. Us white Christians, us black Christians, we were the very ones who made racism possible. It was white Christians who in the South made racism so prevalent, so monstrous. And I don't want us to get wrapped up in our Christian nature and to use it to perpetuate racism and sexism. And so after I understood that this was what was going on in my university, I tried to educate, because ignorance is just a chance to educate, right? Because we're all just ignorant of racism, of sexism. So I joined BSA, SA, RA, anything with an A and an association with it, so that I can identify with black people, so that I can identify with white people. And what I found is that ignorance, as a means to education, is also just an excuse. So we got to stop excusing our people. We have to stop saying, well, she's 18, 19, and 20, and so she just doesn't know about racism. Because at 18 and 19 and 20, you should know about racism. We have to quit saying, oh, well, they just wasn't aware that that racist joke or that racist question in class was racist, because that's not an excuse anymore. When you break the law, do they say, well, because they were not aware of the law, we're just gonna let them pass? Is that how it works? It doesn't. We have to stop excusing each other. We have to stop fixing the problem before we actually fix the problem. And I'm all about unity and love and peace and understanding, but I just don't know what that means on this campus anymore. Can I tell y'all that I wasn't surprised by the video? Can I tell y'all that it's not the first thing that I've seen on this campus? Can I tell y'all that it's not just our students? Why are we just talking about the students? Why won't we talk about the faculty members? Huh? Why won't we talk about the faculty members that after a racist election in a year were silent? And then they all come out with their Trump supporters and their statistics. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about the faculty? Can we talk about the hiring process for most of our clubs and events on campus? Can we talk about our social clubs? Can we stop just pretending that it's just students or that it's just that girl in Garner? Can we please stop pretending like this is not an issue, and that this is going to get solved by a chapel, and that if a bunch of black people come and talk about this, that all of a sudden all of you guys are going to be more understanding and caring? Can we please focus on the real issue and stop pretending? Yes. Hello.
How you doing?
Good. I gotta say, it's taken me a lot of courage to just stand up here, because honestly, I usually don't stand up in front of a lot of people, but I feel like there's something I ought to say. So forgive me if my voice is shaking, because it's been nerve-wracking. First off, the thing that happened with the video, it's honestly a terrible thing, and I have to say I'm sorry. On behalf of them, I am embarrassed. On behalf of them, I am horrified. And on behalf of them, I'm ashamed. I am ashamed that we like to say that this kind of thing doesn't happen anymore, and this kind of thing doesn't exist. But the hard truth is, it does. And I want to move on generally to just hurt. How we like to think we've evolved from hurting people. Because it exists. And it exists, sadly, in small, subtle, increment things, such as that video. And what people don't realize is that things like a video or an email or a Facebook message to a victim is, or to, whether it's a race or just an individual, it leads up to a lot. It leads up to just hurt. And people like to excuse this as freedom of speech, as something that we have the right to do. When the fact of the matter is, that's a lie. When you say that you're allowed to hurt someone because it's freedom of speech, or because you're just being honest to that person, what are you even talking about? Do you have some sort of right to hurt that person? Do you have the right to take their self-worth away? No, you absolutely do not. Because in the end, somebody is watching you. And this excuse of freedom and honesty, just brutal honesty, it had killed my friend 3 years ago from an eating disorder because she was told she wasn't enough, that she didn't look good enough or was not good enough. They told her she was gonna burn in hell in various ways because they told her she wasn't good enough. This excuse killed my friend because little things that added up to something so fatal. And on behalf of what happened, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay, y'all, this is like so not like me. I'm just gonna read what I had posted to an ACU Facebook group for my class of 2018. In response to the blackface video, it's not that bad, really. How can one girl, a bottle of black paint, and some wax lips cause such an uproar? That's not so bad, but it's actually worse. If anyone knows me, I seldom speak out about racial or political issues unless it's to provide an accurate understanding for those who fail to understand the severity of the situation. This whole blackface phenomenon has truly upset me and offended me, and my taking offense is justifiable for those of you that think it's not. Walking on campus yesterday, I heard several students conversing about the issue at hand, and they said, oh, it's just more Black Lives Matter mumbo jumbo, or that black people need to grow thicker skin and get over themselves. And I'm just like walking around a corner saying, what? What? How? You give me some kind of recommendation how to do that when it conflicts with everything that is me. The phrase, a strong black woman, is something that I use to build my self-confidence because I am, indeed, a young woman who has persevered insurmountable and arduous obstacles in my life because of educational, socioeconomic, and in the relational realms. I am not a black woman who just so happens to be strong, and I am not a strong woman who just so happens to be black. This is a package deal, and it's deeply rooted in my identity. I am an African-American black woman, but a strong woman more importantly. And some people may ask, well, if you can say you're a strong black woman, why can't I? Well, because whether you realize it or not, I'm not stating those things about myself for you to find humor in them. I want you to understand me without having to shed the skeletons in my closet or be so vulnerable? And is that really inhumane for me to ask? Can we not realize that not everybody wants you to know everything about them? Y'all, this is hard. I am letting you in the hopes that you can respect me equally as your friend, your colleague, or neighbor, despite the prefaced stereotypes that society places on me. I speak this not to privy myself over others, but to convey the pain and the struggle, and most importantly, the triumph in my life. I tell myself, I am strong, literally, every morning. You are strong, you can do this. No, I don't go around saying, Britannia, you are a strong Black woman, for someone to find humor in that. I tell myself these things because the harsh reality that I face daily tells me otherwise. Immature stunts like this tell me that I am weak. It is invalidating that statement. It tells me that I'm worthless. So when society tries to excuse my struggle for humor, I will remind you. I have to strive twice as hard to have and be half as much as society wants me to be and be deemed as successful. If you find yourself reasoning that this was just a joke and the punishment or scrutiny of ACU officials is unjust, please remember that this is a mockery of an individual's static identity. Her painting her face to resemble my skin color and purposefully wielding big red lips as a prop is humiliating and defacing to my self-confidence. Her mockery of my unchangeable features invalidates my self-worth. It does. And it discourages my right to be encouraging to myself daily. So if you think it was just a joke, it has real consequences, real effects, real impacts on people who are humans just like you. I refuse. These elements are things I view as fact, and these things are what make me me. And I refuse to be devalued for a quick laugh or belittled for strengthening myself. I am a human, I am Black, I am a woman, and because of these things, I have strength. I am a strong Black woman. Please understand that these actions are dehumanizing my existence. Human and civil rights matters like the Black Lives Matter movement is not a parade of outrage, but a platform used to address the injustice I and others face as Black men and women daily. Its purpose is to unearth our identity in a society that religiously aims to bury us. Personally, I believe all lives matter. But for those of you who dismiss and mock an advocating movement that aims to remove social injustice that we as Black men and women face are insensitive and ignorant to our objectives. We want equality. We want to know that we deserve to live without facing racism, sexism, discrimination that constitutes certain imprisonment or death based on things that we cannot change. We want our lives to matter, not above anybody else's, but equally, given the history. Please understand our fears in being reduced to 3/5 of a person compared to someone else. No, this didn't, and it hasn't happened to me yet. But I unapologetically announce that I will do everything in my power and use every platform out there to convey to people that my human rights, they need to be secured. Not for you, but for me, for my children and their children's children. If it makes you uncomfortable, please put yourself in my position. It's hard up here right now, y'all. This is not like me. Would you want this to happen to you? For you to be so vulnerable with people you don't even know? Honestly. How many times must this question be asked? How much will we have to plead for you to understand where we're coming from?
How many eye rolls will I receive when I defy preconceived notion and subpar expectations for success for a black girl? I admit I have my reservations and I believe in stereotypes, but the difference is that I anticipate being proved wrong. I don't walk around thinking people will think and treat me less of a person because of the color of my skin and facial features. I strive to pursue my dreams, not to prove you wrong, but because I have access to them and believe in myself enough to do things viewed as counter-stereotypical. I am begging you, don't take this advice with a grain of salt. Receive it as a nutrient that will better your understanding of people who are different but oh so similar to you. I see color, I admit it, and you do too. We see color. However, you may be seeing it unjustly. Attempting to validate offensive statements like these with the token black friend in your life will not suffice, but an accurate perception of a real human being and their struggles, their daily struggles, their unnecessary struggles. It might change things. We may change the dynamic and prevent situations like this in the future. The purpose of this message is not to force you to think the same as me, but to provide you with information from my experience, my strength, and my life. I only ask for your understanding, and I thank you for respecting my voice and hearing me out with my message in its entirety, because you have just restored faith in my humanity.
My name is Drew. I'm a sophomore here. This is my second year. I'm gonna just be frank with y'all. I already know about racism. I grew up with it. I had to fight about it. So I'm not gonna just tiptoe around the subject. But here, when I came to Abilene University, I was, prepared for the worst. I was ready to, knuck up and, protect myself as a black individual. But now I realize that I had to stop and ask myself, why am I here? The talk about diversity, that's the reason why I'm here. I'm here because they don't want the mind, they want the body. They want to prove that they are diverse for putting black bodies here. They want the mind, they don't want the body. Oh wait, I messed up. But y'all know what I mean though.
Yeah, Drew.
So, in my defense, I respect what y'all doing. I respect y'all trying to be diverse, but just because y'all got black bodies on campus don't mean y'all are diverse. Yeah. Connecting with those bodies mean that you're diverse. Yeah. Say that. Listening to what they got to say into their culture, that means you're diverse. So I get y'all are trying. It's not working. Try something different. Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you who I am because that doesn't matter. I mean, would it make you take a second look or pay closer attention to what I'm saying? You have eyes, you can see me standing up here, but are you looking at me? You have ears, you can hear me, but are you listening? The people that came up here aren't just jumping, bopping their gums. They're talking to you. They're telling you how to relate to them, how to love them. Does it make you uncomfortable what they're saying? Does it make you not want to look them straight in the eye? Does it bother you? Good, it should. And I want that feeling to carry with you, not just today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, for the rest of the week, for the rest of your life if it has to. I want that feeling to bother you so much that you don't want to ever feel like that again, because that's how we feel. Yeah. It's ridiculous that it takes something like this to make you stand around in a circle and listen to us. We are just like you. We're students. We're here trying to better ourselves, make something of ourselves. And it's sad that in the world that we live in, we have to deal with this outside, but now we have to deal with it here. This is our home. This is where we live. It shouldn't be like this. It should be, at my house, I feel totally comfortable. When I'm with my family, I can be exactly who I want to be. This is my home too. Why can't I be like that here? Why do I have to put on a facade or dress a certain way or act a certain way just to be accepted? You have to see the person. You have to open your eyes and look at them. And I'm not just talking about my physical being. I'm talking about the essence of who I am. I am tired of feeling tired because I'm tired of explaining why I matter. When it should be, I matter for the same reason that you matter, because I'm here, because I exist. I want you to wrap your minds around that and don't